pleasure of meeting my next guest. I had the absolute pleasure of meeting my next guest, and I'm just so happy to be able to share him with all of you here today. I tell you, he is a two-time Grammy Dove Award winner. He is an American record producer, musician, and songwriter. He has multiple Billboard awards and BMI chart topping awards. I'm sorry, that's what happens when you're so excited. You had to guess, so it's like, oh my goodness, you start spilling all over yourself, and it's live. But I'm gonna tell you, without further ado, I have to bring him on. I must bring this gentleman on so that all of you can meet him and know why I'm so excited to have him on. Please. Look at here, Elvis, Blac Elvis. Thank you so very much for joining me today, for joining the Talk with Gina family. How are you?
I'm good, Gina. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Once again, thank you so much for being here.
No, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be on the show. I haven't did an interview in probably the last maybe 3 or 4 years now. It's been a while. It's been a minute.
Oh, but I think we'll be okay, right? We'll help one another out. How about that?
Oh yeah, now we're gonna be good. We're gonna have a good time today. Great time. We'll talk about a lot of good stuff.
Definitely. So tell them to Talk with Gina family where you're from. Let's start, we'll start from the beginning. How did this journey begin? So where are you from?
So I'm originally from a little small town in Mississippi called Clarksdale, Mississippi. Right. It's probably about 30, 45 minutes away from Memphis. So I grew up in kind of both of those areas between Clarksdale and Memphis. I got a lot of family in both areas. So that's a little small speck. They call it the Delta, the home of the blues. My grandfather, he was a blues player, Big Jack Johnson. I kind of got my musical, I would say my flavor. A lot of that comes from him. Him wanting me to kind of go on the road with him at an early age and play with him. But my mom, I grew up in church. So my mom was like, oh, no, you can't be in those clubs out there with it was something. I got a chance to play a couple times when I was younger. But growing up in church, my mom was super, she was super strict about me, making sure I didn't go that direction. But look at me now. See, it could.
Isn't that something? Look at you now. And I'm gonna tell you something. Well, I don't have to tell you. I'm gonna tell the audience that Clarksdale, it is small. However, it's mighty.
Definitely.
It is mighty.
Yes.
And I'm gonna also share something with the audience. Clarksdale is 18.79 square miles. How do I know? Because Gina's been there. And I'm gonna tell you something. I just absolutely love Clarksdale. And I love it because it's full of history. It is so rich. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be from a big city to make all of these, to be all of these contributions. And people say, oh yeah, I know this place and I know that place. We don't know every place. Definitely. And that place is mighty. I mean, I was totally blown away. And then I also had the opportunity to drive through. I wasn't driving, but I had the opportunity to drive through the town of Clarksdale. Okay. And just like Hollywood has their Walk of Fame, mm-hmm. and the Apollo Theater in New York has their Walk of Fame, yep. The Clarksdale in the town, they have the Arts and Culture District. And it is absolutely beautiful.
Yes, indeed.
And guess what, audience? Guess whose picture's up there? Blac Elvis. I said, what? Look at that. I mean, that had to be an honor, to be from your hometown, to honor you in such a way. It may be small, but like I said, it's mighty. And there's some greats that have come out of Clarksdale.
No, definitely. It was a huge honor when I got the phone call and told me they were, doing it. I was like, oh man, this is amazing. So I was able to go down there and see my picture up on, in the arts district and take a picture of looking at myself, So
well, I had a picture. I had to take a picture myself. I was just snapping pictures. I said, my goodness, Clarksdale, I'm telling all of you, Clarksdale is a place that you need to go to. You need to at least read up on it. It's just super duper duper rich. But
Yeah,
we
so
we
much
gonna
history.
get back to Elvis right now.
So much history. So much history.
So much history. So much history. So you started out in Clarksdale because that's where you're from. So
Mhm.
did you always know that you wanted to do music? Because I read someplace that you were considered a music prodigy at 12. You started playing 4 instruments. So is this something that you wanted to do from early on?
No, not at all. Honestly, it was because I was just around music all the time, right? Honestly, my dream was to become a gynecologist. My entire life, I wanted to be a gynecologist. Of
Uh-huh.
course, I love music because I was in church playing, drums, keyboard, guitar, saxophone, all that stuff. And of course, being around my granddad and everybody came over to practice and rehearse in the house. I was
Uh-huh.
always engulfed with the music, but I honestly wanted to be a gynecologist. When I was 12, my mom's a nurse, and she took me to this house, right? And it was
Mm-hmm.
studded, and it was the biggest house I've ever seen at that time, at that age, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she takes me over to this house, and it's huge. And I was like, "Mom,
Uh-huh.
whose house is this?" She says, "It's Dr. Caesar's house." So Dr. Caesar is he's a doctor she was working for. I said, "Well, what kind of doctor is he with this house,
Right.
right?" And she was like, "Oh, he's a gynecologist." And from that day forward,
Mm.
I wanted to be a gynecologist.
Gynecologist. You were like, you knew.
Like that. Yeah. I wanted to be like that. And, of course, I'm not a gynecologist, but I was able to still be successful and, accomplish a lot of my goals and dreams and things like that. When I was like ninth grade, what was it, eighth grade,
Uh-huh.
ninth grade, I think, I was voted most likely to succeed. So I kind of knew I was going to be something. Or I was going to do something, special. Everybody else did too. I just didn't know what it
Mm-hmm.
was.
You just knew it. Isn't that
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. You just have
Wow.
to.
Oh my goodness. So, okay. So now we go from gynecologist to music,
Uh-huh.
right? So I know you were already a prodigy, right? When it was determined that you want to be a gynecologist, you were already rocking and rolling with the instruments and
Definitely.
doing your thing. And I get it. When you learn to read music, it opens up a whole new world, or even
Mm-hmm.
if it's by ear, right?
Yep.
Because it teaches you discipline. That's the thing about music. You have to be disciplined in order to do it. So
Yep.
now take us from what you finished school, right?
Mhm.
And then what happened there? Because you took a chance on yourself. So let's talk about that chance that you took on yourself.
Yeah. So once I graduated, so I went to the University of Memphis and I went to
Mhm.
Southeast of college. And once I graduated, I'm really just trying to feel my way. I'm on the road with some gospel groups. I'm
Mhm.
playing. I did an album for the Barcades. The legendary Barcades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a whole entire album for them. This is back in like I would say 2000, like right at
Mhm.
2000. I'm like 19 years old, so I'm like, like what is going on, right? So
Right, right, right.
the music thing is consistently calling me, but
Mhm.
I come to Atlanta, um, like I think back in 2001, I want to say 2002, and one of my friends, he's mixing his album. He's like, "Yo, Elvis, you should come to Atlanta." Mixing Leslie Bradworth, and I don't even know if Leslie really know the impact he had on my life.
Wow.
Leslie is one of the biggest engineers in the music business. He
Mhm.
mixed all the Cash Money stuff. He mixed Happy for Pharrell. Like he's
Wow.
huge, right?
Uh-huh.
So I come to Atlanta to just kind of visit at first.
Right.
And there's a studio called Patchwork. Everybody knows what where Patchwork is and have heard of it. And I walk in, and Leslie is mixing my friend's album, and Leslie says, "Hey, I heard you can play." And
Right.
he said, "Can you play?" I said, "Yeah, I can play." You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
right. It's like you prepared.
yeah, I'm prepared, right? Always be prepared.
Uh-huh.
That's one of my pet peeves.
Oh.
Always be prepared, right?
Mhm.
So he said, "Can you be here tomorrow at 4 o'clock?" I said,
Uh-huh.
"Yeah." I didn't ask no questions. I didn't say why, what for, none of that. I just
Uh-huh.
showed up the next day at 4 o'clock, and I
Uh-huh.
walk in the studio, and Manny Fresh and Juvenile is sitting in the studio in the room. And
No.
oh yeah, and at this time, like Cash Money was on top of the world. Like they were literally running the music business,
Right. Right, right,
Um,
right.
So I walked in, I see Manny Fresh and I see Juvenile, and I lose my mind, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And from that day, I was like, oh, I got to be in Atlanta because that's where it was. Memphis was more geared toward blues and, kind of like, R&B a little bit, but it was a real deep soul, that Southern blues, sound. So for me, and as an aspiring producer, R&B, pop, hip hop, that type of thing,
right,
that wasn't the market for me. So, me coming to Atlanta and seeing that in the matter of 2 days, I was, I've never seen it.
You were like up Atlanta all the way.
Yeah, so I go back to Memphis, like literally, they pack up my whole entire studio and move to Atlanta on faith. I don't know where I'm gonna live, don't know where I'm gonna stay, none of that. I mean, literally, I make no plans. Like literally, I make no plans, and I come and I'm, moving around a little bit, sleeping in my truck, you know what I'm saying, whatever I can, and I meet this guy named DJ Rogers Jr.
Okay.
Now DJ Rogers Jr. is the son of DJ Rogers.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's huge, and I meet DJ, and through a mutual friend, and he has a condo over off Perimeter, and meet him. He opened up the door. He asked me. He said, "How did you grow up?" Meaning, like, what denomination did I grow up in? What faith did I, grow up believing? I said, Church of God in Christ. And he's like, all right, well, you can stay with me for 6 months. Didn't know me from a can of paint. I've never met me before, none of that. And it was just favor, on my life.
Look at God, that's right.
Yeah. And, gave me a place, to stay. And from there, I just started moving around and meeting people and, doing my due diligence. And, I went to, at this point, I was kind of just, trying to get my feet wet and things like that. And I wound up meeting Polo the Dunn. And at Polo the Dunn, it was history from there. He's like, hey, you want to go to LA tomorrow? I was like, all right, cool, whatever.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
When I tell you my life is like a real movie, it is
right.
real movie. Like you can't even.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy the way things was happening. So I got to LA and we worked for about 3 years. This is like 02, 03. We worked for about 3 years really hard and just really, beating the pavement, pounding the block, and studio from studio, city from city, all that stuff. And in 2006, everything that we had been doing for the last 2.5, 3 years just started coming out. And everything just started going number one, Glamorous by Fergie, London Bridges by Fergie, Promise by Sierra, Kelly Rowland, Like This, Young Buck, it was just a slew of stuff.
Goodness.
Yeah,
my goodness.
So it looked like my life had changed overnight.
Right.
But I really have been working for the last 3 years, right? Putting in that real work. And indeed it did. Like when that happened, it was like instant.
It just popped.
Yeah.
But that's what happens because folks see you where you are. So it's like, oh yeah, you have this and you have that, but they don't know the grind.
They don't know the grind.
They don't know what happened. They don't know the backstory.
Yep.
You know? And when everything started manifesting for you, because you knew that that's what you wanted to do.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, it just started happening. I think it was, it's one of them things where it's the process. And once you understand and learn how to appreciate the process, right? Then you can go through it knowing that, okay, you know what? On the other side of this, everything's going to be good and everything's going to be okay. And I just got some crazy faith. Like when I jump off the ledge, I be jumping. I jump without the parachute for real.
But you have total belief in yourself.
Yeah.
That's sometimes folks don't have that. You just say, listen, I'm going to do it. And that's what it is. Like, hey, what's the worst can happen? Because the truth of the matter is that some folks are afraid of failure, right? Will we agree on that?
Yep.
But that is something that makes you stronger, believe it or not. So it's kind of like if you say to yourself, you know what, I don't want to fail. That makes you work even harder.
Yep.
That makes you work that much harder to make sure that you don't fail. So all of this is all of this is happening, all of these number one hits. I can't even imagine how you feel knowing that these hits are just popping, 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 popping. No
Yeah,
longer do you need to, stay with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
you can now have your own place and really and truly and start to enjoy the fruits of your labor,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So
yeah.
now, when did the Grammy? Where's the first Grammy you won?
So we the first Grammy was Ego by Beyonce featuring Kanye West. And then the second one was for Usher, The Little Freak. He actually won, I think it was best R&B contemporary album, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
those are two, but I've been nominated a couple times, just never kind of really won until to those two records really
Right.
happened. But yeah, Ego, Beyonce featuring Kanye was the first. And
Was the
then
first one.
yeah. And
And then
then
I know your Dove Award was
yeah, the
for
Dove
Smokey
Awards for
Norfolk.
Smokey Norfolk. What year was that? I'm so terrible with my
Listen, you
that
won. You won. It's one of those things. Listen, I won.
yeah, it was crazy because I was in Nashville. I remember it, but I don't remember the date. But anyway, it was the Dove Awards, and Smokey actually, he was late or something like that, and so I went up on stage and got the award, gave a little speech the whole nine, and I had a nice suit on, so everybody was like flabbergasted of my because I was like, hey, this is what you do. I thought, what I'm saying, when you're at an award show, but
Right.
it was amazing. I had a blast. Man, Smokey are really, really good. Like we're like brothers. We
Love it.
talk often. So
Mm-hmm.
I built some pretty great relationships over the years with a lot of great artists, great people. Some I can call brothers, friends. That sisters, that type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. So going back to Ego, there is still some information on Ego where it wasn't intended for Beyonce initially, or it was offered to another artist.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Is
you've
that
been doing your
correct? So
research.
what happened? Yeah, I was like, yeah, Gina, come on, bring out that little fun facts.
Okay. So Ego, how it
Uh-huh.
happened was crazy. We initially did the record, me and my partner Harold Lilly, which is a huge writer, right? We initially did that for Jamie Foxx, and we did it, and that's kind of why you hear the whole piano solo in the middle of when she says, "I don't need no beat, I can sing it with piano," right?
Mhm.
Well, initially I did that because Jamie plays. So in my head, when I was creating it, I was like, oh, this is going to be a cold part where Jamie can sit down on stage while he's performing and play, doing his performance.
Right.
And so that was the whole thing. All of the piano parts, all that stuff was really, I did it with Jamie Foxx in mind. So we did the record, sent it to Jamie, sent it to his manager, and he's like, oh, y'all got to come to LA right now and cut this, right? So we fly to LA, cut the record. Jamie kills it, right? And he's walking around with the record for about 3 months, and I'm like, yo, like what, what's going on, right?
Right.
And so we get a phone call from our publisher, Big John, and he's like, yo, I'm in the studio with B, and I'm playing records, and she says, hey, John, what you're excited about? And John says, and this is John telling us a story. He's like, I told him, I said, well, Harold and Elvis just did this record for Jamie. Let me see, can I play it for you? That type of thing, right? So
Right.
he called. He's like, yo, I think B, what I'm saying, I want to press play. He's like, yo, well, whatever, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So he pressed play, and Beyonce hits the record, and she's like, oh, Jamie's just gonna have to be mad. This record is mine, right? So we get the phone call. John calls back. He's like, yo, B wants the record, blah, blah, blah. We like, what's Jamie doing? We like, we don't even care what he's doing. Let's get to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Go out, B cuts the record, and the rest is history from there. Jamie's version wasn't bad, but I don't know if we would have got a Grammy for it, or really, really been as big as it was. I tell people music always finds the right home, right? No matter what. If you do good music, great music, it's going to find the right home. And that's why all my records, all my big records, that's how it always happens. Like it's never intended to be for the person that I've initially did it for. It's crazy. I don't know why it happens like that, but most of the times it's, it goes to a whole nother artist.
And when you're writing, does it just come to you, or is it inspiration? Like How do you approach it? You know, how do you approach songwriting?
Most of the time it's more so just it's more inspiration. I mean, they say I get the raise, right? And of course I
Uh-huh.
get it from God, of course. I'm a strong believer, and
Mm-hmm.
and for me, it's like I am music, like because we're all vibration, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the way I hear is probably different from how other people hear things,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just a gift, and I just I take it out of thin air and create whatever, what I'm saying, I'm feeling whatever is inspiring me, that type of thing, and it just comes out on through music.
Through the music.
Yep.
That's real. That's inspiring. You know, with me and music, I have this uncanny ability to remember lyrics. And I
Mm.
may not have even heard the song in maybe 10 years
Oh
or
wow.
however
Okay.
long, but I can recall. It's crazy. And I'm singing along and I'm singing along and I'm singing along. And so I understand to a certain extent, because I'm not a songwriter. I didn't win a Grammy. I'm not a record producer.
Yeah.
But there was just sometimes you really have, and I will say, an anointing, when it comes down with music.
Hmm.
It's just something that just flips in your brain. I played the violin for 4 years. And when
Wow.
I learned to read music, it was like my mind was blown, everything was open. I just see things so much clearer
Mm.
because you're living in another, I don't want to say dimension, but you're actually exposed to another world.
Right, right. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I
Hmm.
mean, it's you kind of go to a different place. You know what I mean? When
Right.
you're actually working, I know I do. I kind of go in this zone to where I'm just really pulling, right, just from emotion, just from experience, inspiration, all that stuff. I'm kind of just pulling from all different places. And then it just comes. Sometimes I may listen to some stuff. I don't really listen to the radio now because of the music. It's
Hmm.
it's just there. I say
No,
that.
I
And
understand.
don't get me wrong, there's some really, really great artists that I really respect
Hmm.
and that is really doing some amazing things. But I don't know. I haven't been in a super musical creative space
Hmm.
lately, or I haven't really been inspired to really,
Hmm.
really, create all the way, if that makes sense.
Right. No, no, no. It makes sense. And as we spoke before, you shared with me that after being in the music business for 20 years, you just took a little break and
Yep.
just see if there is something else out there for you that you could make a major contribution in. So it's almost like you went from music, like you went from medicine
Hmm.
to music and
Yep.
now technology.
Definitely.
I told you
Definitely.
we'll help each other in this interview, right?
Yeah,
I
there
told you
you go.
that.
There you go.
Look at
That's the
we
bridge over
know.
the water. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So yeah. So what's interesting is, so in 2014, I actually started building my first app, and it was an app called Pro Jams where I took um entertainment
Mhm.
and athletes and merged them both together, right?
Okay.
And what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring both worlds together. So
Mhm.
um, I initially said, I flew out to LA, and there was a player named by the name of Carl Crawford. He's actually in the news right now with some stuff with Meg the Stallion. But
Mhm.
I flew out to LA and go to a Dodger game, and Carl was walking out to the Jay-Z and Rick Ross record. F for me, I got it or whatever, right? And there's about 60,000 people in Dodger Stadium going crazy, and he hit 2 home runs this game.
Mhm.
And I said, well, Carl, if you ever been to a baseball game, there's a huge production that goes on when the batter
Mhm.
is walking out. So they had it on walkout music. There's lights, camera,
Mhm.
actions, everything, right? So he's walking out to this JJ and Rick Ross record. And I say, Carl, after the game, I say, you just played this record in front of 60,000 people and didn't even get paid for it, right? I said, I can go to Rick Ross and Jay-Z, get them to do you an exclusive record. Now you can participate in the back end of that record,
Mhm.
meaning that you can have that residual income of royalties, right?
Okay.
That can continue to come in without you even having to lift a finger doing anything,
Right.
all this content. So that went on for about probably about 3 years. Wind up dissolving that company into another company that I sit on the board of, and In 2020, well, the pandemic hit, and like you said, I took a break from
Right.
music, and I think the world stopped for real, right? I think
It
everybody,
did.
like, hey, let's just sit back and gather our thoughts, and that's what I did. And the George Floyd thing happened. So when the George Floyd thing happened, I was angry and I was upset, and I was like, "Yo, this is crazy how we have become really desensitized with watching people die in front of us." Right now, what stuck out to me was the young lady. Thank God she had it on camera, but nobody really intervened. So I'm like,
Right.
"Yo, how do we let somebody die directly in front of us and do absolutely nothing?" Right?
Nothing.
Nobody threw a rock. Nobody came and tackled the guy. Nobody did anything. Maybe some screaming and shouting, but that's not good enough, right? George is still dead.
Right.
So I started this organization called HERO. Stands for the Human Equality Rights Organization, right? And for me, I was like, we need third-party intervention. We need some kind of way to make sure that they are held accountable, and that we have some type of equality, right? When we are pulled over, and stopped by the police,
Right.
we need third-party intervention. So I was like, cool. I was, doing that, going super hard, and was really focused on, making sure that we were being taught, how to de-escalate situations and encounters between the community and law enforcement.
Right.
And in 2021, I go to Miami, and I go down there to meet the mayor and take care of some other music business stuff. And I'm only flying down there for one day. And this is back in 2021 in July. So there's a huge festival going on, which is called Rolling Loud. And I'm staying at the Brickell Hotel at the W. I'm sorry, at the W,
The
right?
W on Brickell.
On Brickell,
Right.
right? 485 Brickell. I'll never forget this. It's
Right.
So about 10, I get to my room about 10:30, 11 o'clock, go to bed. I don't have any security with me because I'm not a flashy guy. If you don't know me, you just don't know who I am.
Right.
Cool, right? And about 5:55, 6 o'clock in the morning, I hear somebody at my door, like they had a room key. So I wake up and I start moving towards the door because I'm like, I know nobody trying to get in this room at 6 o'clock in the morning. So
Right.
before I can get to the door, though, Gina, I hear bam, 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 bam. Open up the door. I'm saying, yo. I said, who you looking for? I said, you know who you're talking to? The guy says, I'm looking for a feature. Now, a feature in my profession, right? That's a musical term.
That's a music term.
Right? So at that point, I kind of knew the red flags goes off because I'm like, all right, well, he knows who I am.
Right.
And he's here on assignment, right? Because why else are you talking about anything that has to do with music at 6 o'clock in the morning at my door?
Exactly.
Right? So I go to the door, I look out of the peephole, and when I look out of the peephole, I see the guy walk by the peephole with a gun in his hand.
What?
So, yes, I'm like, all I could think about was the movie Taken, right? I was like, they coming in to take me, lay me down, like it was crazy. So at that point, I'm like, all right, my first line of defense is hotel security. So I called him. And me saying that he had a gun, I'm like, well, I know hotel security. They're not going to have a gun. So I dialed 911. And the phone call between me and the 911 operator was so egregious, right? I was just like, yo, this is outrageous. So I actually got a clip of it because,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I got a clip I want to play you because there's no way that our public safety system is supposed to be operated like this. And I got all of this because I wanted people to see, about what I'm about to show you, the technology. I wanted people to actually hear and see like what we're dealing with, and I didn't want this to happen to anybody else. So let me play you a little of this audio clip,
okay,
just to give you perspective, right, of what we changed Hero into, which is called now Hero Alert. Let's see here.
City of Miami Police 911, Operator Menard, what is the address of your emergency?
Yeah, I'm at the W Hotel down here right now. Somebody's knocking at my door. It's W Brickell room.
What is the address?
Brickell Hotel, Miami. I need the police right now.
There is no Brickell Hotel.
The W? South Beach. Brickell, yes, on 485 Brickell.
Are you in Brickell or South Beach? Okay, you just said
Brickell.
the W, South Beach.
Yes.
Are you on South Beach
Brickell.
or are you in Brickell?
I said Brickell.
What is the room number? Hello? Hello?
Hey, I said Brickell.
Sir,
Miami Brickell.
listen to what I'm asking you. What is the room number?
417.
What is the phone number that you're calling from?
407. 407.
What is the phone number that you're calling from?
Ma'am.
Your name?
Please, look.
How can I help you?
Elvis,
Tell me
please.
exactly what happened.
Somebody is here. Send the police.
Tell me exactly what happened. It doesn't work that way. Tell me what happened.
Ma'am, the guy has a gun and at my door. I don't know what happened. I just woke up and they're being at my door.
Okay. Do you have a description of this person?
I do not.
Okay, so how do you know it's a guy?
He's saying he's trying to get in. Are you serious?
What is he saying, sir? I need to know so I can give the officers this information.
Ma'am, please, somebody.
Okay, so have a good night. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
She hung up on you. Literally. I mean, I'm saying she hung up on you. You know she hung up on you. That is.
Yes, crazy. I couldn't believe it. So at that point, I'm like, oh my God, I just started videoing because I'm like, if he gets in the room and something happens, then nobody's gonna know anything, right?
Exactly.
So I started recording, and long story short, he's beating at the door crazy. Hotel security finally comes up to the room. I can hear them going back and forth outside the door. And the hotel security guard, he's knocking at the door. He's like, hey, sir, are you sure you don't know him? I'm like, sir, I'm 100% positive I don't know him. I'm not even from here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess he's out there telling the guy he knows me. This is his room, that type of thing, whatever. I'm like, no, this is crazy. So I had to make a real phone call because at this point, I don't know who to trust. I don't know if the hotel is in on it. I don't know who's outside the door, like none of that stuff, right? And I make a phone call, wind up calling the personal bodyguard. He has to drive all the way from Fort Lauderdale with guns, right, just to come get me up at the hotel. And about 20 minutes later, the police shows up, right? And I tell them everything that happened. And they kind of just chalk it up to, oh, this is Miami. People are drunk and high all the time. There's a festival going on in town, blase, blase. I'm like, huh? It's like that. I mean, so crazy. So when I get back to Atlanta, of course, I'm furious. I'm upset. I'm calling out my lawyers and everybody.
Sure.
And they're like, okay, well, what are your damages? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? What are my damages? I'm traumatized at the end of the day, right?
That's right.
So I was like, you know what? This is going to be more of a problem to fix versus me just trying to sue the hotel or sue the city or whatever it is. So I got right to work. I reached out to my tech team that was helping Hero, and I said, if she would have been able to understand the severity of the situation that I was in, and knew that I was in fear of my life, and the guy was at the door, she would have had my phone number, all the information she needed. Like, she would have sent help immediately and wouldn't have hung up on me, right? So we set out and we started building what is now called Hero Alert. Right. And what Hero Alert is, it's an app and a platform that allows callers to share real-time video, location, text, phone number, all the vital information needed in emergency situations as soon as you call in, with live video, the whole nine. And then the dispatcher is able to stream that directly into the first responder vehicle, whether it's EMS, fire, or law enforcement. So that cuts down on that whole 6 minutes that I just had with her, right? That literally went nowhere, and literally I could have been dead. Thank God I'm alive to be able to tell this story. and hopefully stop, prevent this from happening to other people. And that's what I've been doing for the last, 2 years, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is it available? When will it be available?
So we're probably about 30 to 45 days out before we launch our pilot. So we're gonna launch a pilot here in Atlanta first, just a small, maybe to maybe like 20 or 30,000 people, to about 2 counties or something like that, just so we can kind of work out all the kinks and make sure everything is flowing right. And then we'll start scaling to a national level where everybody can, it could be available to everybody at that point.
So walk me through it. So when you download the app from the App Store, obviously, and then you enter all of your information, and is going to be a monthly charge to this?
No, so the app is free for everybody. We're a subscription B2B model that we charge the 911 dispatch centers, colleges, and schools to use our web portal. And like,
okay, so B2B is business to business?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yep. So everybody will be allowed to have the app for free, which is going to be great for college students, right? And parents. So now you're able to keep up with your kids. So if something is going on, right? If they make a phone call, an emergency call, you get alerted. They're able to create a safety circle of people that they trust, to let them know, hey, I'm safe, or hey, something is going on, that type of thing. So it's going to be a real safety tool. We're not a social media app. We more so of a social safety app, I would say. But you're able to still go and create alerts. You can scroll and still see, your baller alerts and, Spiritual World and ATL Scoop and all that stuff that you still, like kind of entertain you around the world. You're able to follow people that you're following. You're able to like their alerts and different things like that. So, we're able to kind of create I guess if you would say, a close-knit community of people watching out for each other, if that make any sense. But the main problem is really getting that information to 911 dispatchers quick, very quick. Yeah. So that's
if anyone has experienced that. I know one time I had a family member in crisis, and I called 911, and the dispatcher, she was very disengaged. She just, it was almost as if, she didn't really want to come to work. And I understand that their job is to stay calm,
right,
and also to do their best to calm the caller. But sometimes there is attitude, and I know I was met with attitude, and I felt like if she was going to hang up on me, because it was like, no, if you don't answer my questions the way in which I'm asking you the questions, then the conversation is over. And then at that point, you feel like you have to put all of that ego, pride, everything out.
Yes.
And comply.
Yep.
Because you don't want to start all over, because starting all over again could mean life or death. Right.
Yeah. No.
Because the clock starts ticking all over again.
Yep. Yeah. Right. And what we're also doing, we're giving people an alternative resource, to call a crisis professional as well, right? So let's just say, a person in the community is having a, mental health crisis or some type of mental problem. Then instead of calling 911 or the police, we're able to call a crisis center in the nearest area, right? And they're able to see what's going on in real time and help de-escalate the situation versus calling the police. When the police show up, a lot of times in our neighborhood, somebody wind up going to jail or somebody wind up dying, So we've thought about, I guess, a lot of stuff across the board to really kind of help mitigate the risk of, law enforcement, the way that we've been engaging with them for years and years. Hopefully we can kind of mitigate some of those risks and help, give some accountability to through just building that bridge, back between law enforcement and the community as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, this is big. This is, it's like you exhale, in hoping that, this will actually work the way it's supposed to work, because it is needed. It's necessary. You don't want to call the police in a mental health crisis. There are crisis centers that will actually send a person out to help to de-escalate the situation. But the problem is that a lot of people don't even know that.
Right.
They don't know the numbers to call. They don't even know that is offered.
No, you're
So
right.
911 becomes the first.
There
And
you
then
go.
another thing that I think of is folks that have a what's it called when you had the domestic violence? When you have
The restraining orders and stuff like
there
that.
you go. So I tell you, we want to help each other in this interview. The restraining order, and that's another thing as well. Because by the time you call the police, so much has happened. But imagine just being able to, wow, that information just get downloaded and they could see and everything.
Yeah,
wow.
Definitely. Yeah, so it's more so. I'm like, you know, to me, I don't want to say it's common sense because sense is not common, right? But it's like if things are happening in real time, then you need real time, you know, technology to help, you know what I mean, deter or help prevent some of these things from happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my, you know, that was the platform, that was the base of it. And you know, you think about it, I tell people all the time, you know, you got Dunkin' Donuts, you got Starbucks, you got McDonald's, you got Burger King. We got one public safety system in this entire country, right? People, if a cat or a dog is stuck in the tree, you call it
911. It's true.
Yeah, you know, if a guy's drunk out there or a homeless guy, you know, sleep, you call it
911.
You know, our system is so bogged down with just non-life threatening situations. I'm like, people need an alternative resource now. You know, you have to be able to call these other resources to help, you know, come in and lend service to people. And we want to be that alternative resource as well. You know, those direct lines to those centers and, you know, domestic violence centers and all that stuff. Human trafficking, you know, all of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I will also note what you were telling me about Hero. You also said about that you had it will help folks have a better interaction, hopefully, with enforcement. Right? Remember you were telling me that. Also, the CPR training is included with Hero, correct?
Correct. So the training is going to be a program we're running through the actual foundation, the Human Rights Organization, which we're going to go and train people in CPR, train people in trauma, stop the bleeding. You know, a lot of people don't know that in 3 minutes, it only takes you 3 minutes to really bleed out.
That's right. And teach them about using a tourniquet.
Yeah, right. Teach them how to use a tourniquet. So all of these things, you know, we're going to be kind of like giving classes on and teaching people because truth be told, we're the real first responders. Think about if you're out, you know, with friend girls or somebody like that, and something happens, then if you don't have this specific training, then guess what? That person, you know, is going to die unless you're trained to, you know, at least have some type of training to help save their life, right? Otherwise, you're waiting 10 to 20 minutes for any EMS or police or anybody to arrive on scene. So for me, it's like, why not start giving people, you know, just small things, right, that can help save people's lives, because we're going to be there before the police show up.
That's right.
You know, it makes sense to me.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And you make me want to renew my CPR certificate. Definitely. And I'm going to do that.
Yes, definitely.
You know, because you just don't know. You know, some of the things that somebody's choking, the Heimlich remover, you know, but you know, am I placing my hands properly under the person's rib cage? You know, so you had to go back. So you may know, oh yeah, hand me that belt, and you know, or someone can't breathe, or you know, I mean, you shouldn't be making a hole and using a straw, but you know, those are just things that maybe you may be able to relate to the emergency responders, that maybe this is something that needs to happen because the person can't breathe. I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah,
this is awesome. Just like you know, we need music in our lives, and you brought us like such an amazing amount of music. I mean, your catalog is it's mind blowing. And now here it is. You know, you're bringing us something else on the technology end that is mind blowing and that can help us as well. Just wow, Elvis. Like, thank you. And that's how things come to you, right? They come to you as like, wow, you have an experience with something,
Yes.
It's like, well, what can I do?
Yep.
You know, because complaining, I don't want to be part of the complaining group.
Not a
That's
bit.
that's not going to help. Like you get something delivered and it's wrong, and then you call your friend. Oh, delivery. No, right. You know, I'm a big right. I will write. You know what I mean? Immediately. I will take a picture and I will write, because speaking to someone about it is not going to solve the problem.
Not going to solve.
How do we solve the problem? And that's what that's what you do. Wow.
That's what it's all about. I mean, I learned that principle early on. You know, problems are the easiest way to be successful. You know, solving them problems, and you know, I always look for problems because that's how you keep going. You know, if you're not looking for them and always trying to dodge them, and you know, not coming up with solutions, then you're not really living life for real. You know, and it's just it's one of them things.
Always thinking. Like I'm a thinker. I'm always thinking. I'm sort of like, wow, you're in deep thought. You're thinking. I'm always thinking about something.
Something.
And then our conversation, you were talking about owning something, and that's a very big part of you as well. And you feel very passionate about people owning. Let's just talk a little bit about that as well.
No, I mean, you know, I don't know. I've been on this journey for a long time of just understanding who I am, right? And you know, through this whole, I guess, last 3 years with the pandemic, of everybody's just talking about, you know, what we need to do as Black or African Americans, or you know, whatever you want to call it, people of color. Let me just say that. You know, it's interesting because everybody talks about change, right? And I'm like, well, change is what you give somebody when you break $1. So it's like, why do you want, you know, why do you still want you asking for straps? You know, when you can really own something. And what I mean by owning something that's a necessity to the way of life, right? In this world and in this country, whether it be food, right? Supply chain, transportation, real estate, land, like things that gonna really put you at the table. Technology. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? We can't live in this country without public safety. You know, if we take the public safety system away, then it's the wild, wild west. And you know, you think we got a gun problem?
That'll be the purge for real. We'll go from the movie to real life in the purge.
There you go. You see what I'm saying? So you know, we have to really start thinking about, you know, okay, just buying a house or two, that's not real ownership. Ownership is when they have to come to you for something that's a necessity that they need to continue their way of life. That's what real ownership necessity means. That's what I mean by ownership. You know, ownership. Right. But yeah, I just, you know, I see things a lot differently. You know, I'm clear on what needs to happen, you know, with me, with my family, you know, with what I want to, you know, my legacy that I want to leave for the, you know, over the next, you know, 30 years, what I'm doing, what I'm building. Like I'm always building, building. I'm always in build mode. And, you know, I may take a vacation every 2 years, but I'm always gone and traveling. Right. So I'm always just, you know, in build mode, because I believe that, you know, like we're here for a reason. We're put on this planet to make the next generation, make their life a lot easier and better, you know. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just leaving my contribution.
Man, Elvis, I'm telling you, you are such an inspiration. I mean, and for me, it started in the town area of Clarksdale, looking at your picture, being told who you are, you know, and then just being fed the information on all that you've done, to meeting you, hearing about the Hero Alert app, you know, thank God and praise God that you are okay. Yes. And you're able to create that. And I mean, there's significant contributions that you've made in the music world, and you're still making, you know, for folks who think, oh, you've totally left it. No, you have not.
No, we still got some number ones still left in the pipeline that we coming with. So yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to jump in the studio. You know, they say I can't sing, but they don't really know. You know what I'm saying? I just had to wait for the right producer.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
You know, and in that you still making all of these contributions, and it's wonderful. I mean, we have so many comments. Just for a moment, we have Nalda from Houston. She's talking about wow on the app. Everybody's just amazed with this app. We have Wade also from Georgia. Great idea. Looking forward to it being a success. We have someone from we have Kim from Florida. It's a wonderful app. We'll definitely use it for my younger daughter in college. Nice. Kudos to him for bringing that app out. We have Celine from Harlem, great app. We have Diana King. So talk. Thank you for your story and for your app. Great idea. I mean, and then also she said, Gina, I need to get my CPR certificate as well. So, you know, just the inspiration of your story and folks really thinking, hey, you know what? I could definitely be a difference between somebody living or dying.
Yes.
Until the first responders arrive.
Yep.
Elvis, this has been great. I mean, this has really been great. I mean, any more gems you want to share? You know, anything else? You know, like you're just so prepared. Like you practice the 5 P's. Listen, I'm all about the 5 P's. You know what I'm saying? Proper planning prevents poor performance. All right. And you have shown this over the years, and you're still such a young man. It's not like if you're 80 telling this story.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
You're still a young man, still doing it. This is just wow.
No, I appreciate you having me on, taking out the time to listen. You know, I know I can talk all day.
Me too.
I know, right? Now this was fun. You know, hopefully, you know, this app touch a lot of people. A lot of people get it, you know, gravitate to it. And, you know, I'm just, you know, hopefully we can, you know, save and change some lives. Definitely.
Yeah. I would definitely love for you to come back after you launch it. Definitely. And, you know, and just giving us an update on how things are coming along. But hey, if you want to come on there before, you know, we can have a little jam session. I can get my violin. You know what I'm saying? We can be in the studio. We can do our thing.
Yeah. Now, you know, next time I come, I'll be in the studio and, you know, I show you what I'm working on, and, you know, maybe we can get some exclusive music and all that stuff going. So yeah.
I love it. I love that. Because on this platform, I'm unable to play R&B. I'm unable to play any music because it's video. If it was audio, there is a platform that all day, all night, I could just play songs. We would have just been hitting your hits, you know. But you know, copyright. I can't do it on the video. So just like my theme song is, it was produced by someone who, you know, said, okay, Gina, you know, you could use the music. So I'm like, okay, cool. You know, we worked it out and did the music. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, it's great to hear. That would be great to hear what you're working on. Take us in the studio with Blac Elvis. How'd you get that name, by the way, before I get on? How'd you get Blac Elvis?
So Elvis, that's my real name. That's like my government.
I know Elvis Williams is your real name, but Blac Elvis.
So it was like, you know, being in Memphis, you know, from Memphis, that area, and I was like, well, we got a white Elvis, so I might as well just be Blac Elvis. Yeah, it was super.
I like that. Then you put your spin on it. You left the K off.
Yep, there you go. There you go.
I like it. Thank you so much, Elvis, for joining. I look forward to you coming back on. I know you've got a bunch of things to do, but I appreciate you being on with us. You know, I definitely look forward to you coming back.
All right, no, let's do it. I got a ton of stuff to talk about. You know, this was a blast. I had a lot of fun, and
you did
having me on. Definitely.
Oh man, thank you so very much. Thank you. I appreciate you, Elvis. And folks, please look Elvis up, Blac Elvis up, and check his catalog. I mean, we have like about 6 minutes, and I'm telling you, we will not be able to get through all of the artists that this man has worked with. We will not. I am telling you, I guarantee you, it will take longer than 6 minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
It's amazing. I mean, just you can throw some of the names out for me.
Oh man, what Beyonce, Usher, Ciara, Fergie, T.I., John Legend,
Rick Ross,
Kelly Rowland, Rick Ross, Young Buck, K. Michelle, Ruben Studdard, I don't know.
It's crazy. I told you. It's so much. It's so much. I mean, it's mind blowing. I mean, so proud of you. So proud of you. So proud of you. So proud of you. You know what? Small but mighty. Where you're from, small but mighty. Where I'm from, my country, small but mighty. That's what we always say. You know, oh, it's such a small place where you're from, 108 square miles, but we are mighty. So I get it. That's 108 square miles, and you were 18.79 square miles. I know about Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Never disappoint.
You continue to take care of yourself, okay? And definitely keep me informed on what's going on, okay, Elvis?
Thank you so much, Gina.
Oh, thank you. You take care. And you know, we're going to go out with a little mad love.
Can you get no love? Now you wanna show love. Cause I get mad love. Mad love. Mad love.
All right, take care, Gina.
Okay, now. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Oh, thank you all for joining me today. I knew that we were going to run a little longer than we normally do. And you know what? It's okay. It is more than all right because that was some great information. I am definitely looking forward to the launch of Hero Alert, and I will share with all of you when it actually comes out. Definitely, as I said, check out Blac Elvis's music catalog. It is nothing short of amazing. And the other thing that I took from his story is that it is just never too late. So whatever it is that you want to do, do it. You understand what I'm saying? Don't hold back. No different from what I did with the show. Don't hold back. Just go ahead and do it. You know, make it happen for yourself. Take care, everybody. I appreciate all of you. You know, we're about to go out on Mad Love again. Take care. Thanks for joining. Next week, another fantastic guest.